Home. Heading. Play. Button. Restart. Button. Restart. Alert. Start over from the beginning. Erase my. Start. Cancel. Erase my game. Button. And laid all kinds of girls. I've played all kinds of. Home. Home. Back button. Rockstar. Heading. Show stats. Button. I am the entertainer, been all around the world. I've played all kinds of palaces and laid all kinds of girls. I can't remember faces, I don't remember names. But what the hell, you know it's just as well, cause after a while and 1,000 miles it all becomes the same. Billy Joel. Next. But, yeehaw, you fellers ready to go on stage, or what? There are many ways to be woken up in this world, but having a tobacco-chewing one-eyed cowboy shove his hairy mug in your face and scream at the top of his lungs must rank somewhere near the bottom. You open your eyes and pull the world into focus just in time to evade the string of tobacco spittle that falls from his chin and lands with a splash on the hardwood spot where your head used to lie. Strom, the owner-proprietor of Strom's Bar and Saloon, wipes his lip with his sleeve and grins malevolently. Excuse me, I didn't mean to upset your precious rock star beauty sleep time, you dandies. Now, you best get out on stage in 5 minutes or you ain't getting paid tonight. Oh, and have a lovely show. With that he slams the door shut. It's your first night at Strom's, a rowdy biker bar off the highway. It's the kind of bar you thought only exists in movies about undercover martial arts experts who don't want any trouble. You've already noticed more tattoos since you walked in the door than you knew existed in the world, and that Confederate flag over the jukebox seemed awfully ominous when you first entered. Still, it's a gig, and gigs are what you need. Plus, if the show goes well, you may be able to squeeze a few more nights out before having to hit the road again. You've only been on the road 2 weeks for your first tour, but it feels so much longer. You finally manage to sit up and take stock of the room, the cramped and dusty backstage dressing room holding your instruments, some various alcohol bottles, and your bandmates slumped against the walls. No one speaks as they all try to pull themselves from various states of unconsciousness. Why are you all so tired? We've just been living the life of the rock star, baby. Party all night, work all day. Radio button. We've been rehearsing hard and traveling so much, it's been tough to get a good night's rest. Radio button. We were out late last night surveying some of the local music scene. We all went to bed nice and early last night, actually. We just wanted to add some extras before the show. Tick. Next. Clearly you don't go in for all those standard rock cliches. If they weren't so embarrassed by your career choice and general lifestyle, I'm sure your parents would be very proud. With only 5 minutes before showtime, you'd better do something to get your energy up before the show. Unfortunately, the options inside the room are beyond poor. Some half-drunk beer bottles, a handle of whiskey, and a can of Mountain Dew. What's your preference? Whiskey, please. Whiskey. The whiskey, please. It's nature's eye-opener. Radio button. Ticked. The Dew. At least it has vitamins. Ticked. That beer. It needs to be finished. Rate the Dew. At least it has vitamins. Radio button. Tick. I'll awaken my. Tick. The Dew. Tick. That. Next. You grope blindly for the bottle and find it sitting on. Home. Rockstar. Heading. Show stats. Button. You grope blindly for the bottle and find it sitting on the table behind you. Delicious and nutritious. You're the first. You grope blindly for the bottle and find it sitting on the table behind you. Delicious and nutritious. You're the first one to rise to your feet. Per usual, your bandmates are taking their sweet-ass time getting up. As much as you love being the band leader, you never anticipated how much of the job would involve actually having to let your bandmates to do what you need them to do. Only 3 minutes to go till showtime. What's your next move? Better get them up so they have enough time to get ready. Radio button. Ticked. Ticked. Better use this minute to make myself presentable before the show. They're all adults, at least in theory. Radio button. Unticked. 2 of 3. Better get them up. Better try leading by example. Start getting set up myself, and then they will follow. Radio. Next. But who needs kids when you've got a band to look after? You rouse everyone and head over to the gear to start getting ready. A pile of black cases holds various instruments on the inside and various names on the outside. Actually, now would be a good time to remember your name, if you can. What's your first name? Roger. Radio. Next. I can tell you my. Tick. Next. Button. Text field. Text field. Next. Button. Text field. Show. Text field. Insertion point at end. P. L. I. N. D. L. I. F. E. Next. Button. What's your last name? Anderson. I'll tell you. Tick. Next. Text field. Text field. Text field. Insertion point at end. G. A. M. I. N. G. Next. Button. It would also be useful to know what your gender is, for the fans. Male. Radio button. Ticked. 1 of 4. Female. Radio button. Unticked. 2 of 4. Bowie. Non-gendered. Radio button. Alien from the planet Rocktopia. Radio button. Unticked. Bowie. Male. Ticked. Female. Alien. Next. Before you crack open your instrument case, you can't help but notice the "If Lost, Please Return To" sticker adorning the front. Whenever you see it, it always makes you nostalgic for your hometown of. Where did you grow up? None of those. Radio button. Unticked. 6 of 6. Ticked. Keep. Next. Button. So where are you from? Text field. Text field. Next. Text field. Insertion point at end. F. O. F. R. C. K. V. F. E. Show stats. Button. Rockville. Next. Character. Rockville. Misspelled word. Characters. J. O. C. Rockville. R. J. O. O. J. O. C. K. V. I. L. L. E. Next. Yes. Old Rockville, where the grass grows tall and the people grow wide. As you finally open the case, a handwritten letter falls out and lands on the floor. Someone must have slipped it in there at some point, probably before you woke up in that special someone's bed. The note wishes you good luck on your tour and ends with a number and a command to call from the road. How sweet. Who left you the note? A fat-bottomed gal. Radio button. Ticked. A foxy fella fan. Radio button. Unticked. Keyboard. Just a friend. A foxy fella fan. Radio button. Ticked. Just a friend. Radio button. Unticked. Ever hear of free love? Radio button. Unticked. Next. Space. Here. Ever. Hear. Of. Free. Love. A fat-bottomed gal. A foxy fella fan. Just a friend. Radio button. A fat-bottomed gal. Ticked. Next. Fat-bottomed gal is rock speak for beautiful young lady. Finally, the time has come. Your bandmates have just barely made it to their feet and ready their instruments when Strom announces your band. As you step out of the dressing room, you can hear the roar of the crowd beckoning. Oh, wait, that's just your nervous stomach. Even though you've been on the road a couple of weeks already, you still get that same feeling just before going on stage. As endless questions fill your head. What kind of crowd will you have tonight? What reaction will you get? How many new fans can you accumulate? How many more shows like this will it take to reach your dreams of rock stardom? Instead of stressing about the future, you decide to take a moment to meditate on the past. You take a deep breath, close your eyes, and transport yourself back to the much simpler time of your youth, the time when one innocent decision would set in motion everything that has brought you to exactly where you are today. Next chapter. Button. Jenny said when she was just 5 years old, you know my parents gonna be the death of us all, 2 TV sets and 2 Cadillac cars, you know it ain't gonna help me at all till one fine morning she turns on a New York station she don't believe what she hears at all, she started dancing to that fine music, you know her life was saved by rock and roll Velvet Underground. Next. Button. Hey, Blind Life, what are you doing to celebrate your 13th birthday tonight? Your friend Ricky whispers to you from behind his cello. You are seated at the back of a junior high classroom. School ended over an hour ago, but you're not going anywhere. What instrument do you play? The triangle. Radio button. Ticked. 1 of the bassoon. Radio button. Unticked. 2 of the piccolo. The harp. The bassoon. The triangle. What instrument do you play? The triangle. The bassoon. The piccolo. The harp. Next. Button. The harp. Ticked. Next. The mighty harp. The instrument that says, I am committed to driving a minivan for the rest of my life, and I don't care who knows. Your mom decided that you should play the harp because it instills discipline, motor skills, and an appreciation for real music. You've never quite figured out what real music means, or what makes the music you like less than real, but you've learned it's best not to argue with her about these things. Your mother is not a fan of contemporary music. Born at the tail end of the Great Depression and raised during World War II, her tastes in all things veer decidedly traditional. Her idea of popular music begins and ends with Elvis Presley, and, no, you are not allowed to listen to him until you are older. As for those drug bans from places like New York City, Los Angeles, and, most horrifying of all, England, well, you'd better just forget about it. So, yes, your mother is quite strict. As for your father, he learned years ago just to go along with whatever your mother says. And for the most part, you do, too. But lately, for whatever reason, you've been feeling a bit of a rebellious urge bubble up inside you. Whereas you never would have talked to a known troublemaker like Ricky before, now you find yourself whispering with him in the back of band rehearsal. You lean over behind Ricky's cello, truly the greatest classical instrument for whispering behind, and respond, I don't know. My parents are probably just going to order pizza and a cake or something. Ricky uses his bow and mouth to make the universal symbol for uber lame. Listen, I'm going to hang out with my older cousin Gunther after school. He is so cool. He loves to play practical jokes on people, like ringing doorbells, T-paying trees, and smashing mailboxes. It's hilarious. Why don't you come out with us and celebrate your birthday in style? That does sound pretty rad. But if I skip out on my parents tonight, my mom will stick me in a cake and light me on fire. Next time? Radio button. Ticked. Hell, yeah. In fact, let's leave right now. If I have to listen to you torture that cello for 1 more minute, my brain might leak out of my eye holes. Radio button. Unticked. Fine. Just promise me you'll get me home before dinner? Radio button. Unticked. Your cousin sounds like a real stand-up guy, the kind that will be spending his formative, post-adolescent, hell, yeah. Your cousin sounds like a real stand-up guy, the kind that will be spending his formative, post-adolescent years standing in police lineups. I'll pass. Radio button. Next. Button. Fine. Just promise me you'll get me home before dinner? Ticked. Next. Scout's honor. I don't really know what that means. It's just something I heard a geek say when I was giving him a wedgie. But, yes, I'll get you back to your stupid house before stupid dinner. You and Ricky escape school and hop over the small fence separating your junior high from the adjacent high school. Everything here looks the same, only bigger. As you saunter through the land of the giants, feeling like some sort of foreign dignitary, your adrenaline buzz is squelched by the sight of your brother Casper cutting across the parking lot. Hey, birthday alert. Low back 20% close. Hey, birthday boy, what are you doing here? Are you in high school now or something? Casper is sweet but somewhat spacey. Before you have a chance to say anything, Ricky blurts out, we're going to go smash mailboxes with my cousin Gunther. You may have heard of him. He's the guy who got suspended for using the principal's toupee as a jockstrap. Wanna come? Casper looks at you with a mixture of shock and disappointment. You recognize it as the same look your mom usually gives you right before the yelling starts. Really, Blind Life? You don't want to waste your time with that punk. Besides, mom and dad have a whole night planned for you with a Casper is sweet but somewhat spaced. Hey, Really, Blind Life? You don't want to waste your time with that punk. Besides, mom and dad have a whole night planned for you with a special surprise. Come on, I'll give you a ride home. You're right, let's go. Radio button. Ticked. Thanks, but no thanks. Catch you later, Casper. What's the surprise? Radio button. Buzz off, Casper. Now that I'm a teenager, I don't have to listen to you anymore. Next. But what? You're right, let's go. You're right, let's go. Next. You hop into Casper's beat-up Ford Pinto and head for home. Man, you're gonna be so psyched when you see what mom and dad got you this year. In fact, I should just shut up so I don't ruin it. Let's listen to the radio. Your brother sets the dial to the most rocking station your town has, 106.7 Wold, where the 50s live forever. As always, you cross your fingers for some Buddy Holly or Chuck Berry, but it's all Frank Sinatra. Lame. What would your parents possibly get you that would be so exciting? Your mind what would your parents possibly get you that would be so exciting? Your mind reels. You try not to get your hopes up too high. When you get home, your parents, grandparents, and cousins are all waiting for you in the kitchen with a surprise, fudgy the whale cake and pizza. What a shock. What would your parents possibly get you? When you get home, your parents, grandparents, and cousins are all waiting for you in the kitchen with a surprise, fudgy the whale cake and pizza. What a shock. Happy birthday, everyone shouts. You quickly scarf up your birthday dinner, hoping to get to the present sooner. But as soon as your meal ends, your mother tells everyone to gather into the family room so you can regale them with a heart recital. How do you react? Fine, I'll play one quick song, then it's present time. Radio button, ticked. Enough is enough. No music until I get my presents. Radio button, if they want a show, I'll give them a show. Time for the most rocking heart recital they've ever seen. Radio, ticked. Next, button. With your family watching in stunned silence, you shred that heart with aggression. What began as a simple rendition of My Country, 'Tis of Thee has turned into an epic 20-minute improvisational rock odyssey of epic epicness. You finally reach your grand crescendo and punctuate the last note with a dramatic leaping scissor kick. If there were fireworks, they'd be going off now. Your brother gives you a standing ovation. Everyone else looks uncomfortable. Finally, your dad clears his throat. So that was something, huh? All right, time for presents. You quickly tear through your presents, trying to maintain the appropriate level of enthusiasm. Cool sweater, grandma, sweet, plaid socks, oh, a new heart case, thanks, mom. Is that all? If so, you are going to be. Wait, there's one more, it's hiding under the table, and it's the biggest one of all. Phew, all right, time for the big one. You tear open the gift wrap and. Next, button. A record player, 3 exclamation marks. You can't believe it, your parents actually bought you a record player, now you can finally listen to all the music you've always wanted to hear. Before you can try it out, your mom reads you a litany of rules. No music past 9 o'clock, no music until your homework is done, all music must be approved by her. She keeps going, but you're barely listening. You solemnly swear to obey everything, then run upstairs to plug it in. Late into the night, with everyone else in bed, you stay up listening to your parents' Broadway albums on your headphones. Casper sneaks into your room. How'd I know you'd be awake? Here, if you're going to listen to music, at least make it something non-sucky. You can borrow one album from my secret stash, but make sure mom never finds out. Exclamation mark. Secret stash? He opens up a suitcase and shows you a collection you cannot believe. It's a treasure trove of rock, everything you've always wanted to listen to all in one place. How has he never shown this to you before? You're not sure why, but you have a feeling this could be the most important decision you've ever made in your life. Choose an album to learn more about it, then decide which album to listen to. American Beauty, Grateful Dead. Radio button, tick, Grateful Dead. American Beauty. Blood on the Tracks, Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan. The Dark Side of the Moon, Pink Floyd. Radio, Pink Floyd. Electric Ladyland, Jimi Hendrix. Exile on Main Street, Rolling Stone. Full, Led Zeppelin 4, Led Zeppelin. Radio button. Never mind the bollocks. Here's the Sex Pistols. The Sex Pistols. Radio button. The Sex Pistols. The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars. David Bowie. Radio button. David Bowie. The White Album. The Beatles. Radio button. The Beatles. Next. Button. Blood on the Tracks. Bob Dylan. Great. You're not. Secret. You're not. Choose an album to choose an album. American Beauty. Ticked. Blood on the Track. Bob Dylan. Blood on the Track. Led Zeppelin. Never mind. Next. Button. Next. Show stat. Rockstar. Though the 60s had just come to an end, the Grateful Dead crafted the era's defining statement on American Beauty. Flower Child classics like Box of Rain, Friend of the Devil, and Till the Morning Comes exhibit the band's seamless blending of blues, rock, and Americana influences to perfection. I'll keep browsing. Radio button. I'm ready to make my selection. Radio. Next. I'm ready. I'll keep browsing. Tick. Next. Next. Button. Choose an album to learn. American Beauty. Grateful. Blood on the. Grateful Dead. Blood on the Tracks. Bob Dylan. Radio. Ticked. Next. By the time Dylan released Blood on the Tracks, his 15th album, he had already transformed himself so many times that most of his fans had moved on. But as he proves here, with timeless tracks like Tangled Up in Blue, If You See Her, Say Hello and Shelter from the Storm, much of his best work was still ahead of him. I'll keep browsing. Radio button. Ticked. Ticked. I'm next. But choose an album to learn more about it, then decide which album to listen to. American Beauty, Grateful Dead. Radio button. Tick. Grateful Dead. Blood on Bob Dylan. The Dark Side of the Moon. Pink Ticked. Next. But unlike anything that came before it, Pink Floyd's Dark Side proved that a rock album can be so much more than just a collection of songs. Songs like Time and Money are psychedelic classics in their own right, but it's their context within the overall sonic narrative that makes Dark Side a candidate for greatest album of all time. I'll keep browsing. Radio. Tick. Next. Button. Choose an album to learn. Never mind the bollocks. Here. Jimi Hendrix. Electric Ladyland. Pink. The Dark Side. Electric Ladyland. Tick. Next. The prodigal son of the Woodstock era, Hendrix's Electric Ladyland is his most mature and encompassing achievement. The album bursts with virtuosic psychedelic rock masterpieces, such as Voodoo Chile, Crosstown Traffic, and All Along the Watchtower. I'll keep browsing. Radio. Ticked. Next. Choose an album to learn more about it. American Beauty. Blood on the Track. The Dark Side. Electric Ladyland. Exile on Main Street. Rolling Stones. Ticked. Next. Lacking some of the more mainstream hooks of the Stones' earlier successes, and featuring an abrasively gritty sound to boot. Next. But lacking some of the more main show stats. Lacking some of the more Exile on Main Street flew over the heads of many critics and fans on its release. Years later, it is rightfully appreciated as the Stones' greatest album, with 2 discs chock full of down and dirty classics that get better with every listen. I'll keep browsing. Radio. Next. Choose an album to learn. Led Zeppelin 4, Led Zeppelin, full, Exile on, Jimi Hendrix, full, Led Zeppelin, The Sex Pistols, Full Stop, Jimi Hendrix, Electric Ladyland, Pink Floyd, Jimmy. Exile on Main Street. Rolling. Full stop. Led Zeppelin 4. Led Zeppelin. Radio button. Tick. Next. But by their fourth album, Led Zeppelin was a muscular musical force, capable of delivering in the live setting as well as in the studio. While IV. Maybe their most mainstream album, with the singles Rock and Roll and Stairway to Heaven, it's also the album considered most responsible for launching the genre of heavy metal. I'll keep browsing. Radio button. Tick. Next. Choose an. Grateful. Bob Dylan. Pink. Jimmy. Full. Led Zeppelin. Never mind the bollocks. Here's the Sex Pistols. The Sex Pistols. Tick. Next. When the Sex Pistols released their first and only official album in 1977, it signaled not only the launching of a new musical genre, but also an entirely new way of approaching popular music. It was an immediate success in England and an enduring influence on decades of musicians. Songs such as God Save the Queen, Anarchy in the UK, and Holidays in the Sun heralded the musical force that would soon become the dominant countercultural movement in the United States, punk rock. I'll keep browsing. Radio. Tick. Next. Choose the Beatles. Next. David Bowie. The Sex Pistols. The rise and fall of Ziggy Stardust. Tick. Next. But, though barely making a splash in the U.S. on its release, David Bowie's defining concept album is a conceptual and musical masterpiece. Bowie's shocking alter ego and avant-garde narrative string together some brilliantly inventive songs, such as Moonage Daydream, Ziggy Stardust, and Suffragette City. I'll keep browsing. Tick. Next. Choose an album to. Next. The Beatles. The White Album. The Beatles. Radio button. Tick. Next. The Beatles' latter years masterpiece. The White Album is bursting at the seams with unchecked creativity. From the soulful ballad While My Guitar Gently Weeps, to the pop rocker Back in the USSR, to the folksy poem Blackbird. The White Album offers a sprawling buffet of musical brilliance. I'll keep browsing. Tick. I'm ready to make my selection. Tick. Next. So, which one will it be? Listen to American Beauty. So, which one will it be? Choose carefully. The future of rock may depend on it. Listen to American Beauty. Radio button. American Beauty. Full stop. Listen to Blood on the Tracks. Blood on the Tracks. Listen to The Dark Side of the Moon. The Dark Side. Listen to Electric Ladyland. Radio. Tick. The White Album. Next. The White Album. Listen to the White. Next. You spend all night dancing to the sounds of Electric Ladyland. It's the greatest, most amazing music you've ever heard. Clearly your life will never be the same again. You want to play along with the music so badly, but your crummy heart won't cut it. What instrument would you like to play as you rock out with your socks out? The air guitar. The air bass. The air drums. The air keyboard. The air guitar. Tick. The air keyboard. Next. Button. You pick up your hockey stick and start slaying that axe. It might look wrong, but it feels so right. When you're finally finished rocking, you lie in bed the rest of the night with the sounds of Electric Ladyland still playing in your head. You don't know it yet, but the tiny seed of a future rock star has just been planted inside you. Next chapter. Button. Screen recording in progress. 10:36. Status bar item.